Hi, everybody. This is Jimmy DeYoung. Welcome to Prophecy Today video. On our program today, we're going to be thinking about the conversations that I had with our broadcast partners that basically recorded history on our Prophecy Today weekend program. The current events that are unfolding in our world today will be discussed in a moment, and I will align all of these current events with the prophetic scenario that can be found in Bible prophecy for the last days. By the way, you can listen to all of these interviews I had on Prophecy Today weekend with the broadcast partners. That will be available for you at prophecytoday.com, PTRN, Prophecy Today Radio Network. There, you'll be able to re-listen or listen for the first time to any of these conversations with our broadcast partners. You can hear my conversation, for example, with Colonel Bob McGinnis. He talked about the Muslim world. It's more anti-American than it has ever been. We have an article written by Bob on our homepage of our website, prophecytoday.com. Interestingly, the United States is not in Bible prophecy, and in fact, that means they're going to be out of the way for all of the events that can be found, for example, in Ezekiel 38, the alignment of nations, coming against the Jewish state of Israel. So Bob was helping us to understand how that stage is being set. David Dolan talked about the Arab uprising going on all over the Middle East and even in Israel. These activities are going to increase as we watch things unfold. The players are all on the stage right now. The curtain's about to go up for the prophetic scenario found in God's Word. Daniel 11, Psalm 83, again, Ezekiel 38. Plus, as you look at the Palestinian situation, that's mentioned in Malachi chapter 1, Ezekiel chapter 35, and the little book of Obadiah. Rob Congdon is always there to report what's happening in the European Union, and the European Union is putting in place an economic structure. By the way, the European Union is at least the infrastructure for the revived Roman Empire found in Daniel chapter 7 and also chapter 17 of the book of Revelation. And so everything Rob tells us is a stage setter for prophecy to be fulfilled. Dr. John Whitcomb came to these microphones. We talked about the false teachers and doctrines of demons. Jesus Christ, in his Olivet Discourse, said the number one indication that he would be coming back to the earth soon, and this is the second coming of Christ we're talking about, not the rapture of the church. Matthew 24, and in verse 4, he said deception. Verse 5 again, deception. Verses 11 and 24, deception would be the major indicator, a sign, if you wish, that indeed the second coming is about to happen. And in Matthew 24:24, he talked about signs, wonders, and miracles being the way they convey this deception across the world and even to possibly those who are believers in Jesus Christ. Dr. Wickham was very useful in helping us understand what doctrines of demons are going to be about. And I think that if you can have opportunity to re-listen to that, you'll understand that we are living in the times that Jesus Christ was describing. We had Israel Madad, Winky Madad, and Itamar Marcus talk about the Palestinians who are rejecting Jewish history. The fact is that the Temple Mount is going to be the center of controversy, according to the prophet Zechariah, chapter 12 and verse 2, in the end times, until the Messiah does come back to understand that he is going to be building a temple there is a necessity for you as you look at the end time scenario. There may be a question about how you authenticate Jewish history. Well, let me tell you, there are 3 steps to doing that. First of all, what does God's Word say? God's Word is historic information about the Jewish people over a 4,000-year period of time. And then the second ingredient in authenticating Jewish history and or locations in the Bible lands would be tradition. What does tradition say about it? And finally, archaeology. Now remember, archaeology is not a true science. It's an evolving science, but it gives us some tangible evidence. Let me give you those 3 steps again in the proper order: the Bible, tradition, and archaeology. All 3 of these do indeed reveal, as I said, a 4,000-year period of time of Jewish history. Hebron, That location that is a center of controversy even sometimes today would be the first Jewish community established by Abraham, and that would have been some 4,000 years ago. It's the book of Genesis, and you can look at it there in chapters 13 and 14. King David, he was the second king of Israel. He was responsible for so many activities, and especially the preparations to build the temple. He did not build the temple. His son Solomon did build that temple, but it was an absolute promise to King David. The 2 Samuel chapter 7 Davidic covenant, where he said that the Lord told David there would be a temple on the Temple Mount, and one of his heirs would rule and reign from a location, a throne in the Holy of Holies. The second temple, Herod's temple, even the Palestinian claim that the Herod's temple was a part of their ancestral background. And the Quran confirms that as well. You know, the Bible is the source for Jewish history, but also the ancient Jewish prophets pre-wrote history. That's what we call prophecy today, and these prophecies for the Jewish people are in place. In one particular location, it's several chapters, you can go to the book of Ezekiel, chapters 34 to 48. And in these chapters, 16 chapters, you'll get detailed information about what's going to be happening before Jesus Christ comes back as you focus on the Jewish people. First of all, the Jewish people are going to be back in the land. Chapter 34 of the book of Ezekiel says, 18 times I will find my people wherever they have been scattered. I will bring them into the land. Because of my holy name's sake, I promised I would do that. That's Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 22. He will bring the Jews back in the land. Ezekiel 38 says there will be an alignment of nations that will come against the Jewish state to try to destroy them. We see all those players in place. And in fact, in Ezekiel 38, verses 8 and 11, it talks about the efforts for peace that need to be in place before this alignment of nations does attack Israel. And there are 202 verses, detailed information in Ezekiel chapters 40 to 46 about the rebuilding of a Jewish temple. That will be Messiah's temple, but in the tribulation period, the Antichrist will allow the Jews to build a temple. Daniel 9:27, Matthew 24, and verse 15. The stage is set. Prophecy is about to be fulfilled, but before all of this happens, the rapture, and that could happen at any moment. And having said that, nothing left for me to say except let's keep looking up until...